Hey everybody, I'm Philip.
And I'm Justin.
And together, we are Pajamas. And it is minutes, literal minutes, since the last episode we watched, last video for you, which was hopefully last week if my editing is back on schedule. But let me go through the spiel real quick, in case people are confused. We weren't planning on recording this weekend. I did not want to be on camera again until I was healed from the shingles. These are the remnants of it. I'm not healed yet. I'm getting there. And I still have the latent COVID issues with my respiratory system. The snowstorm that came through gifted us more time together, since you can't leave the house. You can't even get out of the driveway. So we thought, we would take advantage of it because, as we've said in the previous two videos, due to the blizzard-like snowstorm we had, we are guaranteed that person downstairs won't have any company. It'll be quiet. So
yes, no one can get in or out of here unless if they want to get covered in snow.
Yeah, so I had to bite the bullet and just say, I'll be on camera with this still and the issues still. So if this is uncomfortable for you to see, I'm sorry. Like I said, I didn't want to be on camera until I was completely healed, which can take weeks, sometimes months for shingles to go away completely. Granted, I'm not the prettiest person, but I also don't want to be like all like gross face immortalized on YouTube with my stupid dual virus attack that I had. But that's the precursor to everything that's going on this weekend. What is going on now is part 2, End of Time. The Christmas 2009 Doctor Who. We just finished part 1, as said moments ago, like literally, like we finished, I exported the audio, hit record again, and we're back. We're going to try and do the animated one we watched, and then this one, and then save this one until possibly tomorrow, but we should know better than that. We'll save part 2 of something for the next day. Yeah, it just doesn't.
And when will that come? Well, we'll have to wait and wait.
Yeah.
And wait and wait.
Speaking of waiting and waiting and waiting, we've been waiting patiently for weeks to do these videos, especially these last 2. The animated one was a Patreon request.
Oh yes, the hideous animation one.
Yeah. But these 2, we've been chomping at the bit. As I said, patiently waiting for me to get better for weeks. We're jumping the gun, but no complaints. No complaints. Because the last episode was like, holy crap. So we have to see how this plays out. So the wait, and the waiting, and the waiting, and the waiting is no more.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes, it was definitely worth the suspense.
Yes. But now it is not. We can't even wait a day. We have to get right to it. We're recording later than we usually do, but it's fine. We have to take advantage of what we have while we have it, even though, So, are you ready? All right. Without further ado, like literally without further ado, we've had a lot of ado. Let's get into it.
I like the outfits.
To find new ways of dying over and over again.
Bam.
She did have a point.
Yeah.
Now then, I've got a planet to run.
Don't turn him into Gollum again,
Is everybody ready?
please.
You let him go, you swine.
Oh, your dad's still kicking up a fuss.
Yeah, well, I'd be proud if I was.
Oh, uh-oh.
Everybody on this planet is me. And I'm not phoning you, so who the hell is that? He loves playing with Earth girls.
Yep.
Are you there?
Find her.
Boom.
Trace the call. Trace the call.
Yep.
Still there?
Thank
Say
you.
goodbye.
What did I...
Donna!
But you could be so much more. You could be beautiful with a mind like that. Wonder what I'd be without you.
Oh, that's good.
What?
What is a noise? Exists within my head, and now within 6 billion heads. The drumbeat is calling from so far away, and now it's been amplified 6 billion times. Triangulate all those signals. That's what your prophecy was. Me!
But still can't see the obvious, can you? That guard is 1 inch too tall.
Oh, shit.
God, I hit him.
God bless the cactuses.
That's cacti.
That's racist.
Prophecy of yours, Doctor.
The sooner we get back to Vivaci's space, the better.
We're not leaving.
4 beats transmitted back through time and implanted in the Master's mind as a child.
Then we have a link to where the Master is right now.
Interesting.
I'd be proud
Of what?
if you were my dad.
The Master is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Then kill him first.
I've taken lives. And I got worse. I got clever. Manipulated people into taking their own.
Please don't die. You're the most wonderful man, and I don't want you to die.
Never.
And the diamond is a white point star.
The Time Lords are returning.
Well, I mean, that's good, isn't it? I mean, that's your people.
Closer! And closer! Because now I can transplant myself into every single Time Lord. Oh yes. Think how much better you're gonna look as me.
No argument. Dang.
On your knees, mankind.
We're just bringing back the species. It's Gallifrey.
Wow.
But if the time lock's broken, then everything's coming through. Hell is descending. My kind of world. Listen, because even the Time Lords.
Hmm. Hmm.
You did this to me!
Because all the excess radiation gets vented inside there.
I'm sorry. Look, just leave me. I've had my time.
Well, exactly. Look at you. Not remotely important. I could do so much more! So much more!
But this is what I get. My reward.
But it's not fair!
No, no, please. Please don't. No, don't.
Wilfred, it's my honor. It started.
What happened? Did I miss something? Again?
Ooh, she's smiling. As if today wasn't bad enough.
God.
Where are you going?
To get my reward.
Aww. Aww, I like that.
Come on, and I want all of you in it. Friends and Neris. Oh, I'm only joking.
What year is this?
2005, January the 1st.
I bet you're gonna have a really great year.
Yeah?
The universe will sing you to your sleep.
I don't want to go.
And still not Ginger. So what? Important, I'm crashing!
That was amazing.
I can finally just. I felt like I've been like the entire episode just like.
A very deep, solemn episode.
First heard that it was going to be Fornox and the doctor would die. We had all these different ideas. And then we had the master and all these different. I had my own hypothesis of what was going to happen. But in the end, it was an act of kindness that brought upon the Fornox. And then an act of self-sacrifice. Like it wasn't like as instantaneous as the last transformation was. I like the spin. That the entire time we thought it was going to be something really like aggressive, like really like, bad. But it wasn't. It was just the granddad saving that guy from that little station. And when the doctor said don't or no, he knew. Like he knew then. He's like, I'm going to have to.
He couldn't bear to not do it.
And it's a cool thing because like I've complained for 3 seasons now about Tennant's portrayal of being just this egomaniac. And I like that we have that. Like, I like that, again, I was not proven wrong. I'm not saying I was all 100% right, but we have that dichotomy of self-sacrifice versus ego. I'm going to reference my notes a little early because he basically says, to the granddad, I forget what word he used, but he says you're ordinary. You're just, but
thanks for the pep talk, doctor.
Yeah. So he says, you're ordinary. And this is not me. This is me just a word like ordinary. I forget what word he used. But he says, I could do so much more. And this is what I get. This is my reward. It's not fair. And I was like, this is what I've been talking about. This is the arrogant, egomaniacal doctor who doesn't want to go because he's so in love with being himself. I'm not saying this is a negative thing. I'm saying it did a good job of, in the end, he was honest about who he is and who I've been saying he's been the whole entire time. People have been getting pissed at me. I'm glad that they were brave enough to show the doctor not only as selfless, but also arrogant at the same time. No, bravo.
It is true, though it wasn't fair. Fairness is simply something that we try to establish in the world. It isn't something that exists in itself, I'm afraid.
It's just interesting that the doctor of all people would say, I have to sacrifice who I am for a plebeian like you, and he's not wrong, but just so interesting to hear him say it. It's like that little glimpse we got of the doctor at the end of Waters of Mars. It's like that guy that's who he is. It's who he's always been. I've been saying it for 3 seasons, but I appreciate the honesty. They just being bold in the face of his own death, and he's like, my end is coming because of this. You silly, lowly human man. And as you said, the doctor couldn't not do it. So
it would be against his nature.
Exactly. So it's such an interesting thing to think about. Like, to be, that noble at the same time, that self-obsessed and self-absorbed. And I get where he's coming from. I'm not saying, I'm not shitting on him. I just think it's a really cool way to write it, to write his end that way. Like, I thought after being tortured for 3 seasons, like the doctor loves his human women, Earth women. Yeah, he does. See, even they say it in the episode. Even they say it in the show. I'm not wrong. See, people are. I have 3 seasons of it. I've had negativity and meanness from not everyone, of course, but I've heard it. My bias, and they say it themselves in the freaking show. And
I am going to miss him though, since we've had him for so long.
Here's what I was getting at. I thought when the end finally came for him, I was going to be like, yay and hooray, and I was going to do a little dance. I had this whole thing in my head. I was going to, when he started transferring, I'd be like, yeah, fuck you. But I'm not. I'm genuinely like, what a good way to write him off, because they did it with such transparency that I think to do it any other way would have done his time as the doctor a disservice. Because yes, he is egomaniacal, and yes, like I've said before, he's his own biggest fan. he was up to the end. He says, I don't want to go.
But in his last moments, they were very selfless.
Yes, exactly. And I guess I like that balance that they did there. Like, that is just really good writing. Not taking anything away from like the rest of the episode, but just like that last 10, 15 minutes were just so well done. And we're just like this brutal honesty of who Tennant's doctor is and who I've said he's been this entire time. Told you all that he was arrogant but this is how good it was. It was written so well that he went out like he died on his sword, lamented about it, and like I don't fault him for it. Normally I'd be like, oh, he couldn't even die without patting himself on the back for no. Because I respect what they were going for, and I respect what they were. Sorry, my face really itches from the shingles. I respect what they were going for, and respect what they were doing with the character. Like they did right by Tennant's doctor by having him go out this way. It wasn't fake. It wasn't pretend. It wasn't like I'm the hero of the day. He was, but at the same time, his heroic came at the cost of his own ego, and that's good. That's good. I like that. I just, after 3 seasons of just being so annoyed and about all the things that they bring up themselves that are clearly there because the show brings them up. To have it come to an end the way it did, because there was just an honesty to it that I have to respect. So I'm not as happy as I thought I would be. I'm sure people were just like weeping, and I can understand why. I'm not making fun of anybody that saw this in 2009 or whenever you saw it, because people were attached to him, and to see him leave. And to see him leave the way, like, it was a slow burn to him leaving. It was him coming to terms with it, saving Granddad. This is the end. And then going to see all the important people in his life, including the blonde nightmare. It was in 2005 when that's when that season aired. So I was like, that's good. That's good. So I saw her. I was like, she's in a different dimension. What are you doing? But no,
it made sense.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just, seeing Martha and Captain Jack. I thought the cool thing about the Captain Jack part is that both those actors are actually gay in real life. That's really fucking cool. Like, I just think that's neat. And that was a nice little touch. Some actual representation in characters and in real life. That was really cool.
I like that.
Yeah, that's why I was so happy. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I thought that was really neat. And then he sees
the authenticity.
Yes, exactly. And then, Sarah Jane and just all of it was like, man. And like all of them knew after he sees Martha and Mickey. Ugh. I don't like that they're married. I think it's just that what came out about the actor that plays Mickey soured me on him.
I'm happy for them though.
But just when he walks away and Martha just like, consoles in Mickey's arms, she knew. And I also think in the last episode, I didn't touch on this, but when the doctor was describing regenerating, he said it's such a painful experience. And finally, I get to call back to something that you said ages ago in one of our outtakes. You said that one of the most boring last names was Smith.
Mm-hmm.
The new doctor is Matt Smith. When you said that, I'm like, oh, I know something you don't know. We've left him speechless. All right, so what did you think of? Like, what did you like about the episode?
His last dying moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those were just so well done. So well done.
It was an excellent way for him to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100% agree. It was a fitting way. It just fit. It fit the character, his portrayal of the character. And I am more than ready for season 5. I'm ready to see what Matt Smith can do. I knew he was the next Doctor. After this portrayal, I don't know who's next, when they're next. I didn't know when he was gonna. Well, this was spoiled for me, by the way. So by accident, of course. But I knew when Tenet was going to, because I knew in season 5 we got a new Doctor. I didn't know that until the accidental spoiler. So yes, if you comment to me, whatever, just be really careful about what you say, please. I would like to not have known, and this would have been like, yeah.
Well, let's see what this Doctor can do.
Yes. I've been very interested to see how he's going to tackle this character, because we've had kind of like goofball. Eccleston was such a goofball to me, just this adorable little goofball. And then obviously Tenet, fuck me on legs.
What? I'd get in line.
I'll get a few other lines. Where's the Captain Jack line? Where's the Alonzo line? I'll go for the Alonzo line. Hell yeah. I've always had a crush on that guy. But
I would definitely want to be in Captain Jack's line.
We'll be in a lot of lines. It's basically the gist.
Maybe we should take numbers.
We don't wait for anyone.
I like your attitude.
Thank you. I'm hoping that we veer from Lothario Doctor, which I'm over and done with, and we venture more into the Doctor feeling like an alien again. I don't care if he's goofy, I don't care if he's aloof, I don't care if he's nerdy, or I don't want suave, I don't want romantic, I don't want Lothario, I don't want Casanova. I don't want that. I don't want human feel. I don't want Doctor, has to hit on all the Earth women. I don't want that. He likes his Earth ladies, all that stuff. I don't want that. I don't. I want an alien. I want a fucking Time Lord.
And we certainly did get those in
this
episode. In fact, a whole planet crashing into.
Yeah.
Which actually led me to wonder, with the planets crashing into each other, wouldn't they actually destroy themselves and then reform themselves? Because of the immense amount of collision?
I don't know. I'm not sure how that works in this universe. In ours, yes. If a planet's gonna be right here, yeah, everyone's dead. They're dead. We're dead. We're all dead.
Yes, I would have thought that would be more likely to happen than simply something bouncing the planet out of orbit and taking its place.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that was going to work, but we never found out. We found out the Time Lords, or those Time Lords, turned to evil, pretty much.
It would have been a bit of an important detail to mention when talking about them.
Yeah.
Because up until now, the way that he described them, it sounded like, oh, they were these wonderful people,
yes.
But then something happened.
Yeah.
And well, now we know what happened, but now more of the details.
It's interesting, this is so well written again, not just in the end, but in this part here, especially with the Master. When you find out that they put the beats into his head to use him as a conduit later to get themselves out of the Time War, because it was time locked. It turned him into a sympathetic character. All the stuff that the Master has done, he's been driven mad.
It was put on to him.
Yeah.
Forced upon him.
At 8 years old, he's had this in his head since then because of them, because they did it to him. They drove him crazy. Man, way to take a character who just seemed like, megalomaniacal and all about the glory and, praise me, I did this, all that stuff, to you made me this. And for what? Just so you could, man.
Yes, that's exactly why.
Yeah, I was like, dang, that's just, I was just like, poor guy. I just felt bad for him. I think he needs a hug. I like the idea how they wrote the Master and it just calls all the way back to when we first saw the introduction of him for us. Introduction of him. He talked about the drums and the 4 beats. And that's some foul stuff, man. You take a child and you imprint them.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Those end of the Time War, time locked Time Lords. Say that fast 5 times. Turned out to be some vicious people, man. It's a crappy thing to do. I didn't like so much King Time Lord Timothy Dalton shows up and he's uses his Thanos glove to change everybody back, and then I was going to be a little more to that other than like, ha ha ha. The universe is shifted back.
Yes, which at first seemed like, oh, this is an act of benevolence, but then it turns out, no, this is only the beginning for something else.
Yeah, he took away what the master did just so he could have the humans as they are kneel before him. Like, damn, dude. We kind of see now that like the Doctor being the last Time Lord is not such a bad thing. Like every other Time Lord we see is just like a corrupt, power-hungry, like dictator. Although the Master was manipulated from being a little guy. So
he does have the excuse of having a traumatic youth.
And traumatic life. Imagine you heard like 4 all of your life. I mean, and then to find out it was because you were being used the entire time.
I would have possibly been tempted to want to crack open my head so that I could see what is making that sound.
Yeah.
I do see it from the Lord President's point of view, though, that what he did was for the glory of the whole. So I do see that. I don't agree with it, but I do see what drove him to it. For the glory that we will continue to move on. It's a sacrifice for the glory of Gallifrey.
It also makes sense now knowing what the Time Lords became, why it's so important for the Doctor to try and be fair to everyone. Why he has to give everyone, even Davros, even his worst enemies, continues to offer the Master, like, come with me. I would be all for that. I would love to see the Master and Doctor travel together. But I like that it shows he's trying so hard to not become what they became, because he saw what the Time Lords became. Or what he could become if he gave into that, that darker side, which we saw a little bit of in Waters of Mars.
So that's where he gets it from.
Hereditary. I like that him trying to be so noble and so altruistic with everyone makes sense now. Because now we know what he knows a little more about his own people. And he needs to be, I can save you. He needs to be, come with me, I can help you. Please let me help you. Please let me, I will take you to a planet and you can live there and all this stuff. Like, just let me help you. I will forgive all this crap you've done, all these people you've killed. Let me just try and save you. Because he needs to be everything. Yeah, he needs to be the opposite of what he saw his people become. And I like that.
That's what's possibly psychologically driving him to that.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Psychoanalysis of the Doctor.
And I enjoy that there's I've always like we've talked about. I always like that common thread with him. Come with me, let me help you, all that stuff. We always thought, he was just being nice, but we didn't know what the catalyst was. And this is from my point of view. This is the catalyst, was him knowing what happened to his people. And so when he says he's the last of the Time Lords, maybe he means he's the last of that Time Lord, because what they became, he doesn't consider Time Lords. They are, but they're like Time Lords corrupted,
deviant.
Yeah,
characteristically speaking.
Yeah, but he's like I guess to put it in like basic terms, a good Time Lord. He's not a bad Time Lord. This is just me projecting and thinking. Because he knows that his people then aren't all dead. They're time locked in a time war, which they can't get out of, so I guess technically they're dead. But they still do exist somewhere, in this time locked time war. So it's interesting when to hear him say, I'm the last of the Time Lords, and that he did what he did to not just end the war and lock everything in, but to lock them in too. And he didn't like what his people had become, and it's just a lot there if you want to like run with it in your head. He stole a TARDIS and GTFO. But yeah, we postulated after Waters of Mars, when we had to wait weeks to watch these. We said we hope that they were worth it. We hope that they stuck the landing. I can confidently say they did. They really did. Another thing was spoiled for me. I also know when the showrunner changes. I won't spoil it for you. So it's going to be interesting to see what the show becomes when RTD is no longer like the driving force behind it. And when the showrunner changes to who I know it's going to change to, because that was also spoiled, I don't hate it. But very curious to see the direction with a new doctor and possibly a new showrunner at some point. What's the show going to look like? Because this is one of those, like, most of the time the shows are good. And there's a few like, oh my God. There's also a few like, wow. There's way more wow in this show. Especially in the last 2 seasons. Especially with the Doctor, I'm very, very much looking forward to where we go with Matt's portrayal. But with the showrunner, I'm like, I'm not a fan of everything RTD does. But what he's really good at, he's really fucking good at. This proves he's really fucking good at writing complex stories that we talked about, all the pieces on the board. He's really good at that. You know, the big twist and the big reveal and the big, like, he like has an ace up his sleeve and he's like, wow. And you're like, oh my God, where'd that come from? I'm more excited for the next season than I am like, not just because of the Doctor, but because of the showrunner stuff.
I'm very curious about what this Doctor will be like.
Me too. He seemed to very like, so I didn't really know anything about Eccleston. I knew about Tennant because, you know, he's, you know, God, King, Lord of actors who played the Doctor. But I had after Matt Smith, I don't know. But as far as his portrayal, all new to me. So, well, everything's been new to me, but I don't know. We've had, you know, we've only had 2 Doctors so far. So it's going to be, I'm very, very eager to get to season 5. Just the first episode, just to get a taste of what a Matt Smith Doctor sounds and acts and feels like. Are we sticking with the suits? Are we going back to the jacket and shirt like Eccleston? He's going to do his own spin on it. I assume that every person that plays the Doctor does their own kind of interpretation of what the Doctor should look like. There's things that I wonder about the Doctor that I can't say because it will bring upon spoilers. I just deleted like a 5-minute long spiel of questions I had to ask everyone. Then I realized, oh crap, it's going to be spoiled for me again, like it was for me previously about this. So there are things that I wonder about the Doctors, but what I was getting at is that I'm interested to see what Matt Smith's take is going to be. Do they get to pick their wardrobe? Like, did Tennant get to pick, hey, I'm going to be in a suit and a coat and have the hair and the Chucks, the Converse, and all that? And then will Matt Smith have input, you know, I'm going to look like this and so on and so on. It's just interesting to think about. Please don't tell me specifics. Just say yes or no. I can't read the comments anyway. Please be vague. Oh my gosh, man, I'm just like, so much happened. You want to go to the notes? Oh, yeah, we've talked for a long ass time. I'm going to have like, this is going to be a doozy to edit when I finally get to it, when I can finally edit again. Editing is still not easy for me.
Philip's notes.
So we know that the entire planet is turned into masters.
Mm-hmm.
And the master says, I have enough soldiers and weapons to turn this planet into a warship. I was like,
yes, he
damn.
could.
I was like, when we ended the last one, we even said there were so many different ways, because we talked about the pieces on the chessboard. There were so many different moves and ways it could have went. I don't hate the way it went. I do think that the master stuff could have been like the glove and all. I think could have been done. I think that could have been done a little better. I get it. I'm fine with it. I'm 100% fine with it. But there was just so much anticipation coming into this one that was just like, oh man, what's he gonna do? Like, he has ultimate power right now.
Only to end up being a pawn, and like any other pawn, he's dispensable.
Yeah.
When his use is finished.
Unfortunately, yeah. So we find out that Donna has a defense mechanism. Because she starts like, rah, and then poof.
Yes. Still in there, locked in there somewhere.
Exploded and knocked all those versions of the master down. So is she cleansed of it now? And did the Doctor lie? Like, was he just saving her as like a defense bomb the entire time?
Maybe. Whatever it was, it did protect her from becoming the master.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying though is that when she was like burning up, and they were coming towards her, she emitted that stuff. They all knocked down. She went to sleep. She passed out or whatever. If that's all it was going to do to her, why not have her just like expunge it from her body, wake back up, continue on adventures with her?
I think that it was only a flicker of what would have happened.
Begs the question, is it gone? Was that all of it? Or was that just a little bit of it? Like as a defense, but it's still like, is she back to forgetting again? Like, did she just remember a little bit enough to have the defense mechanism to save herself and then woke back up and is like amnesiac again? So,
Possibly.
yeah.
Or maybe she thought that it was a dream, and like many dreams, people eventually forget about them hours later.
Maybe, but the doctor didn't make a point to say goodbye to her. So I thought it was kind of like, he's still avoiding her, so she's still like a ticking bomb. Like,
That's what I think.
Yeah, like they really didn't answer it. Maybe they will. Like, as of right now, we don't know. So it's, worth questioning. I like the idea of the 4 knocks, boom, boom. Is it a warrior's march or a symptom of insanity? It's like, man, what do I think? Like, because for the Time Lords, it's a victorious. We are coming back because we manipulated a poor little child. But
from their point of view, a good cause.
Yeah, but for the Master, it's just like in the last episode when the doctor could hear it and he's like, oh my God, it's real. Like, he's like, I'm not crazy. It's what, it's pretty much what he's saying. How many times have we talked about the doctor being heroic versus being villainous? Like, there's always that balance. So there's always this cool balance going on with RTD stuff. I like it a lot. But then we had the notion, we found out that the drum beat came from the end of time. And Master was going to amplify it 6 billion times to find the source. And he did. It was the Time Lords, and then they threw the white point star back, and I think that whole bit was good too. Like when it's a diamond, it's a white point star, and just Tennant's face is like,
there's only one place in the world, well, the universe, where that could have come from.
Yeah.
A place that he thought could not escape.
Yeah. Like, it was cool seeing like Timothy Dalton, John Sim, and David Tennant in a scene. Like, there's all such good actors. But I think John Sim and David Tennant have such good chemistry as actors. And
they do.
It's like it transcends acting. It's like this bond they have. It might sound corny, but to me it's just like they're so natural together. And I would love to see like more things if they were ever in anything else together. Because it's such a good like Sherlock and Moriarty. Like, it's just this cool bond. And I'm not saying like it's like, Cumberbund and the cute guy who played Moriarty. I'm saying that I almost had you laughing. I got it on microphone. It's just like the dynamics of their characters, the Doctor and the Master. This I want to do good, and just tyrannical, maniacal evil. But them as actors in those roles work so well together, so well. They really have a really, really good chemistry. Then they teleport to those people's ship, the Cactus people. And
which apparently is racist.
Yes. Sorry. To the Cactus people.
Oh, you did it again. What are they anyway?
Cactus people. So Doctor turns the ship off. They're stuck in orbit.
There was that one scene in which she did tell the Doctor to get away from those controls. She didn't actually walk up to him and try to get him out of the way.
Yeah.
She was like, no, stop, come back.
Yeah.
Definitely different from the person in charge in the Waters of Mars episode.
Oh, man, she was
someone
awesome.
That was actually a leader.
Yes. Well, they were scavengers, so, she wasn't like... I guess she was like ship captain, but at the same time, she wasn't like, I'm on a mission and, this is militant and...
Yes.
But
But you probably would be if someone all of a sudden pushed you aside and started pressing buttons on your ship.
Yeah. I don't care who you are. I don't care. Yeah. And then we keep seeing that woman up here too. Granddad. And I'm assuming it's his mom. Towards the end when she took the hands off of her face and you're like, oh, it's the woman. And the granddad's like, oh, it's the woman. And the doctor's like, oh, it's my mom. That's who I think it is. Maybe. Or his grandmother or some kind of relation to him, I think. Because why would she have to show her face to him to like... She's important to him somehow, if not his mom. But I like that her whole entire thing was like, arrive, vague prophecy, leave. It just amused me.
Somewhat like a prophet getting a prophecy. Something appears, a vision or a being, something vague is said or seen, and then all of a sudden wake up.
Yeah. I love the one-on-one scene with the doctor and the granddad where the granddad's trying to give the doctor the gun. That whole entire thing was just really well done. This is the last time we see the granddad. It'll be disappointing. I really like his character a lot. And but no one's ever gone in Doctor Who, ever. So I'm sure Matt Smith will have to reintroduce himself to all the former people in some way. I just wanted to mention that scene was just really, really good.
It was a conflict of philosophies in which this is how the master is made. But then all of a sudden when he found out that the Time Lords are coming back, all of a sudden he was quite quick to get that because
that was my next note, yeah.
Because he knew then what he was up against.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows at that point that there is no bargaining, there's only one action to take in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. Because I said, Time Lords are returning, takes gun, exclamation point. And I wrote, a doctor is scared. Time Lord's evil. So that's exactly what I was going to say next. Yeah, all those things, yeah. Just we find out the Time Lords are returning. And I was like, holy crap, the doctor just took a gun. Whoa.
Yes, as if he knows with his enemies, he gives them a chance to, as you've mentioned before, that leave and that they can not be harmed. But in this sense, he knows that there is no bargaining here.
Mm-hmm.
He knows them well enough that there's no room for negotiation.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Then we get this showdown. The doctor has the gun. He's pointing it to the master, then points it to King Time Lord, and goes back and forth and forth between them.
Yes. Which one? And it turns out it's neither.
And then we get this notion from King Time Lord, which I know it's not his name. That's what I'm calling him. Doctor says, he's not saving you. Don't you see what he's doing? And Master goes, no, that's mine. Shh. I like that the Master is so... He needs the glory. He needs the reveal. He needs to revel in it. Yeah, I think Johnson does a really, really good job. I wrote Time Lord King guy, King Time Lord, changes them back, asks them to get on their knees. And then we find out they're bringing back, because he's like, and Doctor's like, don't you see what they're doing? They're not just bringing back the Time Lords, they're bringing back Gallifrey. And it's like, holy fuck. Whoa.
Well, yes, they need to have a place to live in, and well, there's no place like home.
Our home. And then the Master's trying to because the Time Lords wanted to ascend to just consciousness.
Yes, it led me to think, basically they want to be like angels or something like that, in which that they're pure orbs of consciousness.
They did reference in the show weeping angels. So I was like...
Yes, which reminded me of the statue.
Yeah,
angels.
exactly. So now that you say that, I'm like, Then, the Master's like, well, take me with you. Let me ascend too. But he says, I did this. I get the credit. And I'm like, he is so hell-bent on the glory. He wants to plant his flag and make sure everyone's watching. It's interesting how the Master and the Doctor are both very arrogant and egomaniacal, but in their own ways.
Yes, their presentation of the arrogance.
Yeah, so it's like, when I say Tennant's Doctor is arrogant, you have to understand there's more than one kind of arrogant. And I think a lot of people are seeing arrogance as just like arrogance, not arrogance. It's not a light switch. It's a spectrum of arrogance. There's different kinds of arrogance. So people get mad at me. They're like, he's not arrogant. And I'm like, no, he is. He clearly is. I think you're taking arrogant to mean a connotation that I'm not saying it as. Just like when I called the Doctor predatory, people took it in a way that I was not. Predatory does not just mean sex pest. Predatory can mean other things. I said before, a lion hunting a hyena does not want to fuck the hyena. He just wants to eat it. Predatory can mean something different. So I like that this showed it. There are two different kind of arrogant entities. Egomaniacal, they're fans of themselves. They pat themselves on the back. They love who they are. They love what they do. I thought it was cool to see a different manifestation of it. So I can finally be like, see, this is what I'm talking about. There's more than one kind of this thing. Well, it's more the difference between arrogance and confidence. I mean, arrogance is self-centered or thin line, but I think arrogance and confidence. But the Doctor also, he's confident, but he's also arrogant too. So
I see it as basically there's a difference between arrogance and being self-centered.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It in itself isn't a bad thing, but it could lead to hubris, which is actually a heroic flaw. Being self-centered basically means that you only think about yourself, even at the expense of other people, where someone who's arrogant would probably say, I'm better than most people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're self-centered.
Okay, yeah. A lot of people think it's like yin and yang, like black and white. It's not. There's a lot. It's all gray area. Emotions in general, like saying I'm pissed, and you could say I'm pissed, doesn't mean the same thing.
Yes, that it actually defeats what the yin-yang symbol is even about. It's supposed to show that these dichotomies only concepts. The reality is that it's a blend of these things.
And then when the doctor was like trying to tell the master, sorry if my speech is starting to go. I've talked more than I've talked in weeks. So when the doctor was telling the master, you don't understand, because the master can never see past base victory. He's like, they're not just bringing Gallifrey, they're bringing this, and they're bringing this, and they're bringing this, and they're bringing this. And I went to see all those things he listed because some of them sounded freaking awesome. Like that one king and the Never Was's, and what I want to see an episode with them. They sound cool.
Maybe they're in one of the previous episodes, and this was a reference back, like how, for example,
true,
in the episode when there was the big reunion.
Yes, and then the notion of the master being a sympathetic character, to me, King Time Lord says, "You were diseased, albeit a disease of our making." I was like, oh, that poor guy. Like he had no choice.
At least he was willing to admit what he did to him.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't still. It's like. It just made me feel bad for him. And then I think it was King Time Lord that said, "The final act of your life is murder, but which one of us?" When he had the gun going back and forth. And of course he spared his friend and his childhood friend. They would run in the red grass together on Gallifrey.
That's
and
sweet.
Shot the machine that severed the link. And a little easy, like bang, machine dead, you gone. But it led to the other stuff was fine. And then Master says, "You did this to me all of my life." And I wrote sympathetic. He's realizing just how he's been manipulated, and he was thrust in a situation that he never had any control over. I mean, I'm not saying he had to go like crazy and be like crazy dictator evil guy, but it drove him nuts, and they did it on purpose. Then we have the granddad and the machine and all the stuff we talked about, but the whole "I could do so much more, it's not fair" thing. And I wrote, the granddad was just trying to be nice. Like he was just doing like what you would have done. And he knew that. I know the doctor knew that. He wasn't like mad at him. He was just mad. But like when something happens on our end, like I get a setback, or, you accidentally startle me, and I'm down for the rest of the day because I'm very, very fragile. The thing I say is, I'm not mad at you.
You're upset about the situation.
Exactly. I'm not mad at him. I'm mad about the situation. So I'm not saying I'm not mad. Like when people are like, "I'm not mad." Don't lie. Like own up to how you feel. If you're not going to be honest with the people that you talk to, then how can you expect that in return? So are you mad? Yeah, I'm mad. I'm not mad at you specifically because you didn't do it on purpose. It wasn't like intent. But I'm mad that it happened. And I think that's where the doctor was coming from. He wasn't mad at Granddad. He's mad at the situation. And I respect that, because that's a motto that I've lived by for a long, long time. And then it all goes down. He absorbs all the radiation stuff, comes out, and Granddad says, you have battle scars or whatever. And then he heals himself. He does this, and Granddad's like, "How'd you do that?"
It's a sign that he's regenerated.
Yep. He says it started. I was excited, but then the next 10 minutes were like, "You are not allowed to be happy about this. We're going to make you feel as I'm not sad or depressed, just like melancholy." Like, oh, okay. But as I said, because they were honest about it. Like I said earlier, he says to the granddad, "I'll see you one more time. Where are you going? To get my reward." And then I wrote, the doctor is revisiting all the people that were important to him: Martha, Sarah Jane, Captain Jack, hooks him and Alonzo up. Love it. Gave the nobles a lottery ticket. So am I missing something there? He got it from like another noble, like Jeffrey Noble. Like who is? Maybe I don't know. I didn't get that part.
All that we know is that it's clearly a winning lottery ticket.
Then he sees the blonde nightmare in 2005. Thought that was clever. Well done.
It's the only way that he can see her now.
Yeah. I like the next part where he sees Ood Sigma. And he says, "We will sing to you, Doctor. The universe will sing you to your sleep." I was like, oh. Like they were honoring him too. I thought it was nice. And this last line, "I don't want to go."
Well, like the Ood Sigma said, that an ending is also a beginning.
Yes, exactly. I thought it was a good last line. Well, fantastic final 10 minutes. But that's all for my notes. Everything else are for my patrons over on Patreon. We have come to the end of the Tennant era. We have come to the end, technically, according to HBO Max, season 4. According to HBO Max, this is season 4, episode 18. We have the beginning of season 5. Finally, we're on season 5. The beginning of Matt Smith's journey as the Doctor. Don't know how long it lasts. Don't want to know, please. And don't know who's next, when, how, all of that. I would like I would say that I would like at least 2 seasons with him as the Doctor. But then again, maybe like 5 episodes from now, I'm just like, oh my God, you're even more annoying than Tennant. Go away. Can you just regenerate at the end of this one? We'll see. But it'll be nice to walk in different shoes with his character. So,
how many times does the Doctor have to regenerate to make you happy?
As many as it takes.
I see.
Would you settle?
While you're regenerating, Doctor, I'm going to be with Captain Jack for a while until I see anything.
There you go.
Well, I do want to weigh my options.
Well, and then I'll be with Alonso. So win-win for both of us.
Yes, that works out.
But yeah, I think as I said before, fitting end to Tennant's run, fitting end to the story. And I look forward to a clean slate and where we go from here. Hopefully there's nothing we missed from, because like I said, there's so much going on, as I said many times, this in the last episode, that maybe there's like a little thing here and there we missed. But I hope not. I hope we covered the major things. Someone did ask, once we got through the specials, would they have changed your medal ceremony choices if these were included in the entirety of like what HBO Max considers season 4? 18 episodes. Would any of these changed the favorites or least favorites? Do you think?
They could have. These were very powerful specials.
I will say definitely, 100%. I can definitely say that Planet of the Dead would have been on least favorite. Somewhere, definitely. Waters of Mars would definitely have been on favorites, like 100%. But we're off the bridge. The toll bridge is we paid the last toll. We paid the last toll, and
now we finally reached the other side.
Yeah, we did. Yes, it only took a long ass time because of fate and all of that, but we made it. So on to season 5 we go. Is there anything else you would like to add about this? About anything? Okay. Well, I think this is the longest video we've done. I'm going to have a lot to edit, which is fine. I love editing. I haven't been able to do it in a while. I can only do it in little microcosms right now as of this recording.
It was a very impactful episode. Thus, there was much to say.
Yes, yeah. Well, we had just 2 and then the whole story and all of it. Yeah. It's all big unknown, as we said, from here. And I welcome the next steps into season 5. But that's going to wrap this one up. As always, I don't have a fancy outro, so simply say thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.